Alright, so let's talk about the iPad mini 7. There is a lot of buzz out there about whether or not it's worth upgrading, especially if you already have the iPad mini 6. Should you go for it? Should you hold off? That's what we're going to dive into today. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly where I stand. But I've got some thoughts that you probably won't expect. So stick around for the full breakdown. So let's start with where we are right now. The iPad mini 6 released back in 2021. It's already a pretty solid device. It brought us an 8.3-inch Liquid Retina display, the A15 Bionic chip, USB-C charging, and a revamped design with squared off edges that made it look more like the rest of the modern day iPads. Not to mention, Apple finally got rid of the home button, giving us that quote-unquote edge-to-edge display. I mean, there is still some pretty thick bezels, but that's besides the point. You know, for the most part, people love the iPad mini 6, including myself. Compact, powerful, and portable. The iPad mini 6 wasn't perfect. You had a few quirks, like the infamous jelly scrolling issue, where the screen refresh rate was slightly uneven when scrolling through text. Plus, some people felt that the cameras could have used an upgrade. Now, fast forward to 2024, and we've got the iPad mini 7 coming in hot. But here's the big question. Is it worth upgrading, and should you be considering this for your next purchase? Okay, so let's break down what we're getting with the iPad mini 7. Apple's packing in their new A17 Pro chip, which is a serious step up from the A15. We're talking 30% faster CPU performance and 25% boost to the GPU. That means whether you're multitasking, editing photos, or gaming, this thing will handle it all without breaking a sweat. I think a lot of us expected the A18 Pro, which is the chipset found in the iPhone 16 lineup. But honestly, for an iPad, it's probably an overkill, and that would have also most definitely hiked up the price. Now, this new chip also unlocks Apple Intelligence features, which brings some really cool AI-driven functionality into the mix. Things like smarter photo organization, automatic video enhancements, and potentially even a super-powered Siri. The future is getting really interesting with Apple's AI focus, and having a device this small, that's a big deal. You're also getting support for Wi-Fi 6E, which means faster, more reliable internet. Great for streaming or remote work. And finally, it's now compatible with the Apple Pencil Pro, which is a step up for artists, note-takers, and anyone who likes to sketch on the go. If you are a student watching this and you're considering this upgrade, I think it's worth it just for the Apple Pencil Pro alone. Here's the thing. The design, basically unchanged. It's still got that 8.3-inch display, the squared off edges, and sort of an all-screen look, just like the iPad mini 6. You won't see a drastic redesign here, and for a lot of people, that's either great news or a disappointment. But let's get into why Apple's keeping the same design for the iPad mini 7 as the iPad mini 6. And let me just say, I get it. It's frustrating for a lot of people. We all want new, fresh, and different, especially when you're dropping hundreds of dollars on a new device. But here's the reality. Apple knows exactly what they're doing by sticking to this design. Hear me out. First off, lowering costs. Apple is one of the biggest companies in the world, but they're also incredibly smart when it comes to profitability. Reusing a design that people are already familiar with cuts down on the R&D costs. They don't have to reinvent the wheel with every release. And by keeping the same chassis, they're saving millions of dollars in research, development, and production costs. It's not glamorous, but it's smart business. Then there's the whole if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality. The iPad mini 6 design, it works. It's sleek, it's modern, and it's compact. Apple knows that the vast majority of users are totally fine with this look. Let's be real. How many of us are sitting there staring at the back of our iPad wishing that it looked different? Exactly. Apple focuses on keeping things simple and familiar because it's what a lot of people actually want. And honestly, I'm not mad at it. The current design is solid. The feel in the hand, the compact form factor, and it feels premium enough to not need a redesign every 2 years. Plus, when you consider the starting price of $499, you're getting a powerful device at a reasonable price point. Throwing in a massive redesign would likely jack up the cost. And at that point, you might as well just get an iPad Pro. So yeah, could have Apple changed things up a bit? Sure. But am I upset that they didn't? Not really. Now the question becomes, has Apple fixed the jelly scrolling issues that bugged a lot of people on the Mini 6, including myself? Instead of changing the display tech, there is no 120Hz ProMotion here. But have they tweaked the internal design to give you a more smoother visual experience? That's what I'm hoping for, but we'll see. Now, I know some of you are thinking, wait, no 120Hz. And yeah, that might feel like a miss when you compare it to the iPad Pros. But for a device this small, 60Hz still looks fantastic. Considering, of course, that it's an Apple calibrated display. So no no real complaints on my end. Now, if we're talking about the iPhone 16 coming with a 60Hz display, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother video. The iPad mini 7 is sticking with some familiar color options like Starlight, Space Gray, Pink, and Purple. Nothing wild here, but it works. These are the same colors that we've seen before, so while the insides get an upgrade, the outsides stay consistent. If you're looking for something drastically new in terms of aesthetics, this might not be it. Next up, the cameras. Now look, most people aren't using their iPads as their main camera. It's not your go-to for Instagram shots, right? But Apple still upgraded their rear camera to a 12 megapixel wide camera with Smart HDR4. So if you're doing video calls, maybe some casual photography, or even recording TikTok videos, the iPad mini 7 will definitely do the job. And the ultra-wide camera on the front, perfect for those group FaceTime calls, and it does come with center stage. As for the battery life, Apple's known for its tight optimization, so while the battery size is limited because of the compact form factor, the A17 Pro chipset should help with efficiency. You're probably looking at 8 to 9 hours of use, which is on par with the previous model, but slightly improved due to the new chip's power management. Before we dive deeper into whether or not you should upgrade, if you're enjoying this video so far, hit that like button and make sure you guys do subscribe. Once I've had some time with the iPad mini 7, I'll definitely make a longer, more in-depth video, so make sure you guys subscribe for that. So now we're getting to the big question. Is it worth it from the iPad mini 6 to upgrade to the iPad mini 7? Well, in my opinion, yeah, it is. Here's why. First, the A17 Pro chipset is a massive leap. If you're someone who uses their iPad for anything beyond basic tasks, whether that's gaming, creative work, or productivity, you're going to feel the difference in speed and smoothness. And with Apple Intelligence features on the horizon, having that extra processing power is going to future-proof this device for the next few years. Then there's the connectivity. If you're someone who works remotely or streams a lot of content, Wi-Fi 6E is a huge upgrade. You're going to get better speeds and a more stable connection, which is important as we move into an era of cloud computing and streaming everything. Another big reason to upgrade, the Apple Pencil Pro support. This isn't just a casual note-taker's tool anymore. It's a legitimate creative instrument. And if you're an artist or even just someone who likes to annotate documents, this is a game changer. The Apple Pencil Pro's precision, combined with the A17 Pro chip, makes sketching or designing on the iPad mini a whole new experience. Now let's talk about the pricing. The iPad mini 7 starts at $499 for the base model, which now comes with 128 gigabytes of storage. That's double the storage we had on the iPad mini 6, which is a nice bump up for the exact same price point. The cellular version is going to run you about $649. So yeah, it's not the cheapest tablet out there, but it's right in line with Apple's pricing strategy. And given the performance upgrade, it feels like a fair deal. Alright, so here's my final verdict. If you're still rocking an iPad mini 6, should you upgrade? Well, I think the answer is a resounding yes. The improvements in performance, connectivity, and creative potential with the Apple Pencil Pro makes this a no-brainer for power users. But if you're just using your iPad for casual tasks like reading or streaming Netflix, the iPad mini 6 is still more than capable. So in that case, you might not feel the need to jump to the mini 7 right away. That said, if you're thinking about future-proofing your setup, the A17 Pro chip is going to make a big difference in terms of longevity. Apple's really leaning into AI, and having the latest chip means your device is ready for whatever updates and features come down the line. And don't underestimate the value of those small improvements. The Wi-Fi 6E support, better battery life efficiency, and Apple Pencil Pro integration are all significant for anyone who wants to use their iPad mini for more than just casual media consumption. So to sum it up, if you're a casual user who already has the iPad mini 6, you don't need to rush out and buy the iPad mini 7. But for power users, creatives, and anyone looking to get the most out of their tablet for the next few years, I think this upgrade is well worth it. The A17 Pro chip, the support for Apple Intelligence, and the compatibility with the Apple Pencil Pro are all game changers that elevate this compact device to a whole new level. As I mentioned earlier, I will be getting my hands on the iPad mini 7 as soon as it drops. I'll give you guys a full breakdown of how it feels in real-world use, so make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you already haven't. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you guys made it to the end of this video, drop a dolphin emoji down in the comments below. I would love to know who my true supporters are. And also, let me know down in the comments below if you're planning on upgrading, or are you sticking with the iPad mini 6? Let me know, and I'll catch you guys all in the next one. And of course, don't forget to flex with your tech.